Welcome. The story of how this WoTopoly game came to be here with us now begins long, long ago, during the time of the dragon's peace in the Fourth Age. And it begins with the wind, as so many things do. The wind blew south down the river Aranon, rising over the island of Tar Valon. The wind was not the beginning. There are neither beginnings nor endings to the wheel of time. But it was a beginning. The wind wound around the white tower before finding its way in through a window, where it made a pile of papers dance atop the desk before the hand of a distracted Aes Sedai stilled them with a light touch. She is an Aes Sedai of the Brown Aja, sitting in her book and paper-cluttered office, giving special care to the last pieces of a board game that she's packing up. As she works, she reminisces about the history of this game and how this copy in particular had come to her for special archival. She's filled with a warm glow of satisfaction as she muses on what this game has meant to generations of Westlanders after time and garden. In the years after the last battle, Loial, son of Arent, son of Halon, and his wife Aerith, daughter of Iva, daughter of Alar, were inspired to create a new kind of game for an Ogier of the Fourth Age, to give them a learning tool for an in-depth study of the many trials the Dragon Reborn faced as he journeyed toward his fate at Shio Ghul. The reason Loial had thought to make a game to study the last battle had come from, of all places, the game of snakes and foxes. It was an unwinnable game that humans continued to play, despite having no more understanding of the deeper messages and warnings that it meant to convey about the dangers of dealing with the realm of the Aelfin and Eelfin. Humans, even the Aes Sedai, had not dealt with that realm in so many lifetimes. All deeper meaning of the game had been lost. It was the concept of using a game to both warn and educate that Loial and Aerith found most surprising. They had a vision for a game that had a long-lasting appeal, but not one that would become as senseless as the snakes and foxes had become as the ages passed and memories faded. Why, even the game of stones, famous for its appeal to leaders and thinkers for its tactical training, and far more popular in the Westlands than the game of snakes and foxes, it cannot even encompass the challenges faced approaching Tarmon Gai'don. The journey of Rand al'Thor to become the Dragon Reborn involved far more chaos and chance than a strategy-based game like Stones can ever hope to encompass. The game Loial and Aerith created together was a completely different kind of game than that notoriously unwinnable one, or even the long-enduring Game of Stones. The game made for the Ogier involved both strategy and chance, and was designed to allow Ogier scholars and philosophers an opportunity to work through and assess events of the last battle that were moving far too quickly at the time, as well as spend time discussing the Dragon Reborn's strategy in the struggle to reach the last battle. Most importantly, Ogier could do so at a pace that suited their slower sensibilities. Their game was a resounding success when Loial and Aerith introduced it at the Great Stump. Nearly 150 years after the Ogier game had been created, an Aes Sedai, also of the Brown Aja, was visiting Stedding Shangtai on a research project. It was then that she observed the Ogier playing a game she had never seen before. She was fascinated by what she could make out of the beautifully intricate board, and when her research visit was finished and she was supposed to be leaving for Tar Valon, she was unable to help herself even with the temptation of getting out of the steading as quickly as possible to feel the one power again. And so she stopped, and she asked to speak with Elder Loyal and Elder Aerith about the game so she could learn more from the creators themselves. They were, of course, more than happy to answer her questions and speak with her about their beloved game at great length. After many questions, long, detailed answers, and copious amounts of notes, she found herself quite taken with their game. She inquired whether she could use it outside of the steading among the human nations to educate and entertain. They both agreed immediately, but followed with earnest warnings. This Ogier game was likely far too slow and long playing for humans. Ogier elders had been known to take decades to get through a single round, but they wished her the best of luck. Now this thought had occurred to the Aes Sedai while she was taking notes, and prepared, she quickly asked Loyal and Aerith if they would allow the White Tower to update the game for human play, as needed. In this way, all people would be able to learn from and enjoy the game. Most importantly, humans could do so at a pace that suited their hasty sensibilities. And as many Brown sisters who have met him can attest, Loyal has, for an Ogier, the heart of a Brown. It was no surprise to the Brown sister when he and Aerith, she and Loyal are two peas in a pod in this way, both loved the idea of humans learning about their ancestors and the events that had led to Tarmangaiden in a format that they could enjoy. And Loyal particularly was thrilled for people to learn more about his many dear friends' heroic adventures on their way to the last battle. The original Ogier game that first Brown sister saw in the steading so long ago is beautiful beyond words. The board and pieces were all made with sung wood. It was known among Ogier artisans as a work of unmatched skill in sung woodwork. However, to make the game widely available to the human population, much of it needed to be changed. Not just to make it quicker to play, it needed to be made from more easily acquired materials than sung wood. The changes were wildly successful, and the reworked game has a distinct charm to it that has been capturing the hearts and imaginations of people all over the Westland for many generations now. Brown, and prone to distraction like many of her sisters, the Aes Sedai shakes herself out of her reverie as she finishes the task at hand. Lovingly, she thinks how this game has had quite the journey to get to her, and how its journey is really just beginning. She closes the game away in the newly created stasis box in the hopes that one day someone in a far-off age will find this game, and new generations will learn about the challenges the dragon faced while uniting the world before the last battle, and how in the end humanity came together to fight for the forces of light against the power of the Dark One to save the world. Now, you hold that game in your hands. Are you ready? Footnote: Second Age scholars theorize that our modern board game Monopoly is actually an ages-old derivative of the original Ogier game. Thank you for listening. I had fun creating this game, and I used artwork from the books, from the community, from the show, from everywhere, which means that this game is a licensing nightmare and will never be made. It's going up for the charity auction at JordanCon this year, 2024, and I'll probably never make another one. It was a lot of work. Thank you again for listening.